Hey guys, Sableye here, and welcome back to more Players Cup action. Today we're going to keep things going with our, I believe it's Losers Round 6. Don't ask me how double elimination works, I'll get into that in a little bit. But either way, we've got James Baek here today. Well, not here, but we played James Baek in Losers Round 6, and if you guys do not know James, James is an amazing, amazing player. I believe he either got top 4 or top 8. I apologize for getting this wrong, but I really don't remember, but it was one of those two at Worlds in 2019. So, very, very good player. And, okay, I'm just gonna preset this a little bit. So, double elimination, right? So, I was in Winners Round 4. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm 99% sure I dropped to Losers Round 6 when I lost in Winners Round 4. But, double elimination is dumb like that. The other thing that makes double elimination dumb is I'm gonna let you guys take guesses in the comment section down below. How long of a wait do you think I had from my from my Winners Round 4 match, after my Winners Round 4 match, to the start of this match? How long do you think it was? Just because. I'll tell you guys at the end of the video so you guys can, you know, deviate it all. But anyways, we are going to see James' team on the field here. And, okay, that is not James' team. My bad. Wrong team. There's James' team. There we go. Okay, I can do YouTube properly. Okay, so that's James' team on the field, guys. And at first I was panicking. I'm like, oh, it's Kyogre, it's Glacier, he's gonna have Trick Room. And then I kind of looked at it again, and I realized he didn't have a Trick Room set. Right? So he had to assume that I would be scared of Glacier. Or at least I thought he would assume that I'm scared of Glacier, because truthfully, I am petrified of this Glacier as long as Trick Room's up. However, without Trick Room, I'm not overly too concerned because I can just position my Zacian properly. So I said to myself, okay, so if he's going to expect Lapras or something along those lines, he's definitely not going to expect Pull. And I can catch him off guard in game 1 just by going with my fast mode here. So pretty, I don't want to say standard, he's got this brutal swing. Like, nothing too surprising is what I should say. I don't want to say standard, but nothing too surprising on James' team. But, like I was saying, I just wanted to go in and see if I could catch him off guard. And, you know, Dragon Pull, Regieleki, just kind of go, you know, just kind of go burr pretty quickly, if you guys are familiar with the meme. But anyways, you know, I'm going to leave my fast mode, and James actually decides to go Tornadus Amoonguss, and very good lead, if you expect, yeah, right, he's not expecting me to lead this, I don't think. I think I definitely caught him off guard with something like this. I think he expected me to be terrified of Glacier. But anyways, we're just going to go burr here, and I'm going to go max Airstream, and I'm going to go Electro Web. We know it's Wakan Berry, so actually not killing Torn here is perfectly fine for me. And I don't think I played this game 1 amazingly. I'm going to be completely honest. But like, I kind of just made the plays that were just in front of me. So this play here, like I said, this Amoonguss is in front of me. It's Focus Sash. I might as well chip it, and I might as well get an Airstream into it. Right? That's how my brain worked here. I waited... Alright guys, I'm just going to let you know. I waited 2.5 hours between sets here. Anyway, so my brain was kind of autopilot again. Anyways, we're going to get back to this, and they're actually going to switch out Amoonguss into Metagross, which is an amazing play. I like that, and I see what they're going for, right? I think they kind of expected me to either max Alecki. I don't know what they were going for here. Like, I can't tell if they were expecting me to max Alecki, and they didn't want to Spore, right? And they figured I'd just end up dropping Torn, and they'd get free damage off. Or if they were expecting me maybe to double the Torn with an Airstream and Electro Web, then that way if Amoonguss Rage Powdered, right? I don't know what they were really going for there, but I figured it made more. I don't know why they didn't stay on the field and just try to Spore me. Like, I guess they're going, like, I know what they're going for, right? They're getting Metagross in and they're hoping they don't take too much damage. But the problem is, I just Airstream now and they take 50%. Right now they're down to 50%, right in around the money anyways, and I'm very confident that Dragon Pull can just finish this off. We've slowed down to Torn, so it's not going to outpace my Alecki now, even if it does decide to go for something like a Tailwind. The biggest concern to me would be Amoonguss coming in, but that is a very smart brutal swing there. Gets the Metagross all set up, all good to go. And okay, here's my concern: is I do not want to kill this Tornadus because of the fact that it just welcomes in the Amoonguss for the Rage Powder stuffs, and then they have +2 Metagross and they're going to work. So I could have easily said, yo, Metagross is going to guard here, right? But what I wanted to do was I wanted to take advantage. I was trying to take advantage of the fact that, you know, I didn't want to give the welcome in the Amoonguss. But I don't really like this play. I do end up max phantasming right into a max guard, guys. I'm gonna be honest. And you see me trying to hover here. I was very, very tempted to go air scream into the Torn in case he decided to say, I'm gonna switch in Amoonguss. And, you know, and I'm gonna Thunderbolt that slot as well. See, this was my problem. I kind of made what I like to call, I don't know if half read is the right word here, right? Like, I knew Amoonguss was coming in or Amoonguss was going. I didn't want Amoonguss on the field, but I did nothing to stop it. And I kind of knew there was going to be a max guard, but once again, I attacked right into it. Either way, I don't think this was a great turn for me. Good turn for James for sure. So as I already said, this Metagross is going to click the big old max guard here, and this is where this is where the game gets a little bit goes a little bit in my favor, I should say. But anyways, max guard coming out. Gonna be a big Thunderbolt from this Regional Lucky right now, going into this Amoonguss, and this turns the tide to the game, guys. Right here, this big Thunderbolt goes down into Amoonguss, does not crit, but does get the para. And that paralysis is going to end up paying dividends in a few seconds. So, Metagross, of course, going to eat that because of the max guard. And now I say to myself, okay, Amoonguss could potentially get parried here. So I have no reason not to launch this into Metagross. They're locked into trying to Rage Pattern. Worst case scenario, the Phantasm goes into Amoonguss and it goes into a Thunderbolt. Wait, I actually doubled Amoonguss. No, I definitely did not double Amoonguss anyways. I definitely hit Metagross. I was about to say, Ryan, what are you doing? No, okay. So, like I said, worst case scenario, Thunderbolt and the Phantasm goes into Amoonguss. Why did I protect? Okay, that was possibly the worst play I could have ever gone for. I needed to do a Phantasm. But anyways, we do see the full pair there. I need the Thunderbolt as well. But the full pair there, actually really going to save me there. And Metagross is going to drop. And now I've killed their max. Their max has done nothing. And that's huge. See, the problem is that protect was bad. Right? I had no reason to protect because they probably want to go after my my Dragapult there. So I probably should have just doubled Amoonguss, make sure the Amoonguss drops under Rage Pattern, like Thunderbolt and Phantasm the Metagross, right? If they get the Rage Pattern off, okay, I kill the Amoonguss and we can deal with Metagross. It's not that fast. They never got Tailwind up. I think they did get Tailwind up, I should say. They did. I do remember that now. So regardless here though, now it's just simply Electro Web stuffs. I do have to be a little bit wary because I believe they still have Tailwind up for a turn. But I actually don't. Yeah, for sure. Because they Brutal Swing turn 1 and then they Tailwinded before I Thunderbolted, right? Pretty sure. Fairly positive, but I could be wrong. I have Air Scream up, so I'm not really overly too concerned about being outpaced here. I just do decide to go for the Volt Switch. I figured I'd get bigger damage that way. I'm not going to be able to OHKO at this turn anyways, and I can save a Lucky for late game when we're out of Tailwind and I can have just the Ogre to myself here. And I believe I clicked Phantom Force so I wouldn't die. Lapras, of course, coming in to eat the water move. They don't click Thunder into an Electro. They definitely don't. Dragapult, like I said, going to disappear, going to ignore it. And I think this game 1 is just steamrolled off the fact that I got that para. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think we're in anywhere of as much of a decent spot as if I don't get that para. Of course, I don't think we're losing this game. I mean, it would have been really close. But I think at this point now it's just finishing up this game without messing up too much. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. Do I want to save Lapras here? I mean, what did I actually end up doing? I don't even remember how I ended this game. Did I actually perish? I did actually perish. Okay. They're going to switch out Amoonguss. They're going to bring Torn back in. Yeah, they never did get Tailwind up. My bad. They switched out the Torn into Amoonguss. That's my fault. Anyways, Torn comes in. Dragapult's going to go with a nice big time Phantom Force. And Life Orb Dragapult. Life Orb Dragapult too strong. Life Orb Dragapult too strong. So Thundy's going to, Torn's going to go down right there. Kyogre's going to go for the Skull. Just trying to pick up my Dragapult, see if they can get it. Thankfully, no burn. Okay, sorry, they did get a burn. Goes to show you how much I misremember. But the thing is, Perish ends this game anyways, effectively. I have 4 Pokemon. I swap in and out. I probably swap the Dragapult out this turn and protect my... Actually, no, there's no reason to swap Dragapult. I can just protect Lapras, let the Dragapult go down. Actually, I was at 21 HP, it did 10, so I actually probably take another burn. So I probably just double protect. Then I switch them both out, then I have protects at the end. It's effectively game over at this moment, and I think James realizes that. So I'm pretty sure James agrees with me here and decides to click the forfeit. So, Red Lucky coming in. Did I actually switch? I definitely didn't, did I? I don't even remember what I did here. Like I said, the turn's so irrelevant, it never actually played out. Yeah, the battle was cancelled. But definitely a huge game one there. Got definitely steamrolled after that para on the Amoonguss there. If I don't get that para, and I mean, if I get the para and not the full para, and he gets that Rage Powder off, that was the key turn. He needed that Rage Powder. If he got that Rage Powder, this game would have been a whole lot different. And I mean a whole lot different. We probably would have lost our Dragapult or our Lucky. Losing either one would have been terrible for us. They still would have had Torn to set late game Tailwind versus our Zacian. It would have been rough. I'm going to be completely honest. I think it was still winnable, depending on who he took there with that turn with the Metagross, if it would have gotten an attack off. But fortunately for us, we got a little bit of luck on our side there, and we take this. So going into game 2, it's how do I think he's going to adapt? And I've been saying this a lot in these analyses, but basically, I figured he was going to try and get Glacier in. I didn't know what his game plan to get Glacier in was, but he saw the fact that I wasn't really scared of it. I went all in, didn't really bring an answer to it. So I figured to myself, okay, he's going to get Glacier in, but the question becomes, do I care? And I said to myself, no, I really don't. I can have big potential damage with Dragapult and Regieleki on the field immediately. I have a Zacian in the back, so if they decide to max if they decide, English, Ryan, English is tough. Anyways, if they decide to max their Glacier to kill my Dynamax Pult, I just walk in with Zacian later, and we take that trade-off every day of the week. We also saw that they were not bringing Incin. Doesn't mean they're not going to bring it in game 2 with the Glacier. I think it would make a lot of sense if they did. But at this point, I'm trying to figure out what I wanted in the back, and I was trying to debate if I wanted to go Incin or Lapras. And I ended up going Lapras because at least it was a way to stall out Kyogre. And maybe actually force Kyogres into Thunder, rather than forcing Kyogre into... rather than having Kyogre just click Spell Freely, is basically what I went with. But anyways, guys, I'm going to preface this a little bit. This game 2 is basically who's going to call the other person's bluff. And you'll see it a little bit more towards the end, for sure. But it was a really solid game, for sure. Glacier and Amoonguss, very good lead from my opponent. Very good lead from James's end. And we're going to get Dragapult Regieleki. So, basically, here's what I thought to myself. I thought to myself, okay, is he going to Rage Powder an SD? Right? He could very well Rage Powder an SD, but then I thought to myself, okay, hold up. What if he protects an SD? And I thought to myself, okay, if he's going to protect an SD, because he's not going to... I was very confident that he wasn't going to Sleep Powder here, because he has to protect his Glacier. So I thought to myself, oh, he's going to protect the Glacier, no problem, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click Thunderbolt to get a little bit of chip damage into Glacier. Actually, I doubled Amoonguss. That was a mistake. I should have gone after Glacier here. Okay. So, clearly looking back at this, I wasn't afraid of Spore. Clearly, during the game, I was afraid of Spore. I figured a Thunderbolt plus a Wormwind would have been enough to pick off this Amoonguss, which means I wouldn't have to be afraid of Spore at all, and I would have just gotten the drop. Glacier would be at -1, and wouldn't be able to kill me if it were to max, but Amoonguss makes the correct play and protects. Like I said, it was a game of who's calling each other's bluff, right? I expected the Rage Powder, he called that and said, okay, I'm just going to protect here, doubling right into this Amoonguss, which is terrible. And for those of you guys who may not have seen it on the team sheet, you are about to see it now. And when Glacier decides to dance with the swords in a few seconds here, it's going to be interesting. So this is where things get rough. Like I said, Swords Dance Glacier, guys, absolute beast. And this is why I was so expecting, I was just expecting the Wormwind. Like, I didn't think he'd just give me the Glacier. Like, a Thunderbolt and a Wormwind, I'm 99% sure would have just dropped this Glacier. So, very good play on their end, maybe realizing that I had to respect the Amoonguss enough, right? Like, I couldn't just afford to get put to sleep if the Glacier decided to protect and he split Spore. So, like, definitely called me out on that one. Definitely a very good play. But, I mean, I'm not even mad at this point, right? We get big damage into Amoonguss here. Actually, Amoonguss is going to switch out, so never mind, I take that right back. Incin coming in, and I mean, Phantasm into Incin is still perfectly fine. Because once again, if they decide to max Glacier and kill my Dragapult, that just welcomes Zacian on the field, right? There's the max of the Glacier. And like I said before, it's all about where we're going with these attacks, right? I've kept them at only +1, which isn't great, don't get me wrong. +1 Glacier is absolutely terrifying. That's all Glacier really needs. But it's better than +2. Better than +2. Aleki still has its Sash, which is very, very nice. And we're going to get a nice little Electro Web. Why I Electro Webbed? I think maybe I was a little concerned about not really sure if I would have been enough to pick up a Mungus. So I wanted to make sure I got that knockout. So that's probably why I E-Webbed there, but I don't actually remember fully. That Phantasm actually does a lot of damage. So we're going to see Incineroar there. Be perfectly fine. And what are we going to see from this Glacier? I don't actually remember who he targeted. I'm pretty sure he targeted Dragapult and just took the knockout. Yeah, he just takes the knockout there, and I mean, why not? Right? If I guard, I'm not doing any damage with Aleki. And you know you're breaking my Sash on Aleki as well for the next turn. So that way when you kill my Aleki, you can actually get the boosts. So, now I bring in Zacian. Because, like I said, this was my game plan the entire time. And like I said before, this was a game of who's going to call out someone else's bluff first. I was debating bringing in Lapras straight up, but I figured that didn't really help me because then I'm stuck with Aleki on the field without a switcher. So, I bring in the Zacian, and do I protect? That becomes the question. Do I protect my Zacian? So, the way I look at this turn is I thought to myself, okay, he's going to fake out my Zacian. He has no choice but to do that. I'm going to punish him if he doesn't do that. I'm going to Behemoth Blade this Glacier anyways. If he doesn't fake out, I take the huge punishment and I get rid of the Glacier. That's massive. I have to go for that. There's no reason for me to protect. And then I Volt Switch off instant. So, they do indeed fake out my Zacian, so I'm not going to get the Behemoth Blade up. And I thought to myself, did James call my bluff here? Because James could have very easily called my bluff and gone for a nice little Quake, realizing I wasn't going to protect, and just drop my Zacian this turn. And maybe he should have. But either way, I do get the read semi-quasi right, figuring he'd go after Aleki, figuring he'd expect my Zacian to protect and wasn't going to be able to get a knockout anyways. And we do get this right as the Max Quake comes out, but the Max Quake goes out into Lapras. So Zacian is still on the field right now, which is phenomenal right here. Lapras is still on the field, and Zacian, both of us still alive. Cannot complain about that. And now I know this Incin is very low health. And I figured to myself, okay, I have the freest Behemoth Blade of Life in the Glacier. The worst case scenario for me is if they were to guard. If they guard Glacier and get in a Mungus. That is the worst case scenario for me. So, I figured to myself, I obviously just launched a Behemoth Blade. I could substitute, right? I thought about it. You guys saw me. I thought about it. And I figured they'd expect maybe me to call their guard and substitute. So I decided to say, no. I'm just going to go for the kill here. The protect is very obvious on James' end. James isn't going to go for it. And I freeze dry the Incineroar on the off chance Incineroar decides to pivot into a Mungus for whatever reason. Just in case. Freeze dry is going to kill the instant from this range anyways. So it was just 100% my safer play. It also connects the Ogre as well, that I also didn't think was coming in, but that's the back. It's a Mungus Ogre, right? So Behemoth Blade, I do get James on the bluff there. He was not going to guard there. He wanted to break my sub if I decided to sub. And we're going to get that Behemoth Blade. Glacier is going to go bye-bye now, and Freeze Dry is going to pick off instant. And I don't want to say we're home free because we're far from home free with this game now. But we get a big Freeze Dry off here into the instant. Lapras actually being faster here is also very, very important as instant drops. So, nice little 3-1. Nice little 3v1 right now. We're looking not terrible. Not terrible. We know that last mon's a Mungus. And we know it's a Mungus Ogre. This is still a tough endgame to pivot. It's still a very tough endgame to pivot. So basically it's one of those things where I need damage from somewhere. But I know this Ogre is going to outpace my Lapras. I don't even remember what I did to get out of this scenario. So let's watch together. I mean, I remember the last few turns of the game very, very, very well, but these middle parts here are a bit shaky for me. I'm gonna be honest. You can tell I'm the type of player that likes to play off adrenaline rather than a flowchart, which is probably terrible, but I do have a tendency to do that from time to time, and I'm actually just gonna double protect. I don't know what I was going. Oh, I remember now. I was scouting for the Amoonguss's protect. That's what I was doing. I figured, okay, if I can catch the Amoonguss protect, I might be all right to get big damage off onto it next turn. But they decide to say, hey, I'm gonna go after Lapras here, and Amoonguss is gonna click Spore. Alright. So, seeing that they want to spore Lapras, seeing that they want to spore Zacian and kill my Lapras, I figured I had a free sub. So, I would sub, and I'm just going to freeze dry chip this Amoonguss down if I manage to get it off. If not, and they Thunder and Spore, I have a free substitute with Zacian, which is phenomenal. So, this is what we're going to go with here. I think it's a pretty safe play on my end, and Zacian's going to click sub. Kyogre, what does Kyogre go for here? Kyogre actually, James makes a very smart play here, realizing that I probably want to click substitute. So, he got this sub call right, and gets the Scald off onto my Zacian. And now I'm thinking to myself, Freeze Dry is not killing this Amoonguss. Amoonguss is getting a Spore off. And we get big damage into Amoonguss here. Of course, not enough damage, but Amoonguss is now going to click Spore. So, Zacian's asleep. I don't like seeing Zacian be asleep. So, I figured now with Zacian asleep, he's going to ignore it. I can get a free Regieleki coming back on the field and just drop a nice little Protect. Right? Thunder should go into my Lapras right here. I mean, it's risky if they decide to Scald Zacian again, but I don't think they ever do. Because the moment they Scald Zacian, they're leaving Lapras on the field, and Lapras starts becoming a threat. Like, they don't want a Lecky on the field. I think they're more than content leaving my Zacian on the field asleep right now, and they'll deal with a Lecky when it eventually comes on the field later. So I figured to myself, you know what? No. We need to kind of force the tables here. Let's get a Lecky on the field and start putting some pressure on. So I protect Lapras. I went all in on this read right here, and I hope it works out. We'll see. I think Amoonguss actually protected. What did Amoonguss do? Anyways, we're gonna get the Thunder. Gonna eat that with the Protector, and Amoonguss is gonna Pollen Puff to do damage to my. That's right. They Pollen Puff. Right. Okay, so they Pollen Puff my Lecky. I completely forgot what Amoonguss did there, but okay. Now this game is far from over, and I mean far from over. So I Electrowebs and I click Freeze Dry. Basically, you cannot kill my Lecky and my Lapras at the same time. If you Rage Powder with Amoonguss here, I get the Freeze Dry into Amoonguss. You also probably think I want to get rid of the Amoonguss so Lecky has free time, right? So I'm going to Freeze Dry this Kyogre, realizing that my Electroweb will slow down to Ogre, Lapras will be faster than the Ogre, I'll get the Freeze Dry off onto it. That's the concept here. So, and if they Rage Powder, well then I get the Amoonguss. Right? That was kind of the concept, and Amoonguss is actually going to protect, so we get this turn more than correct, and a Regieleki going to go for a nice little Electroweb here. Going to get some chip damage here. And it's going to do, if I chip damage into an Ogre, that's a lot of chip damage into an Ogre. So, of course, Ogre's speed is going to fall, which is exactly what we wanted. We're going to get Lapras to come out here with the Freeze Dry, and big damage coming out. Kyogre right into the red. Alright, and Kyogre's going to click Thunder. Thunder correctly connects into Lapras, which is the correct play. Right, they wanted Amoonguss alive, which makes perfect sense. Okay, now, looking really, really good in my favor, right? Yeah, most often, you know, you think, okay, I just Electrowebs here, and we're good to go. But Zacian hasn't taken a turn of sleep, so that's a non-factor for me right now. That's a non-factor for them right now. And this is one of those mind games where you kind of just have to get it right in the moment. And I don't know why I decided to say, okay, I do kind of remember why I went with it, and I'm going to go with that. So basically, if they protect and Spore my Regieleki, right, which is the standard play that they should be making, I'm in a little bit of trouble. So I should be protecting Regieleki to call that Protect. However, I cannot call that Protect, because if I call that Protect, and they Pollen Puff their Kyogre, and then Rage Powder next turn, we actually lose. So I decide to go for the Electroweb, mainly because, in my eyes, James's best play is, right now it's a 50-50, do I protect or not? Right? And in my eyes, James also gains the extra 5% chance of me missing Electroweb if he doesn't attack. So that's an extra chance that he thinks I'm going to protect. Right? He has an extra 5% chance of winning if I don't, right? If you really call it that. It's not quite a 50-50, like I hate the terminology for it, but I do catch him expecting the, to protect from the Regieleki, and like I said, the way I look at that is James looked at it and said, okay, if it's a 50-50, there's a 5% chance he misses Electroweb, right? So therefore, my protecting play would be better on mine, gives me the better odds. But at the same time, I also realized that, hey, that's going to give me the better, it's also going to give him the fact that maybe he thinks his Pollen Puff play is the better odds, right? Like normal, like I don't know, I feel like Protect from a Lecky there was really, really obvious, so I decided not to go for it. Of course, had they protected and Sport, it would have come down to Zacian Wake Up turns, which no one really wants to play. And I think actually they'd probably come up on the winning end of that. But either way, good games to James. I do apologize for getting a little lucky in game 1, but that's the way the Pokemon game crumbles sometimes. But with that, guys, I think that's going to end this one. So either way, we're still alive from Losers Round 6. We move on to Losers Round 7. We need to make it through Losers Round 8 to qualify to advance to the next week. So it was kind of getting there now, guys. We're only 2 wins away now. So we're right in there. We're on our do or die scenario, whatever you want to call it. But with that, guys, we're going to get out of here because I don't want to keep rambling on for the rest of your lives. And I will catch you guys tomorrow for another Players Cup analysis video.